अगर तू मुझे नवाजे तेरा करम है वरना तेरी रहमतों का बदला मेरी बंदगी नहीं। काशी टीवी देखने वाले सारे व्यूअर्स ਨੂੰ मेरे बलबीर कौर ਵੱਲੋਂ सत श्री अकाल सलाम नमस्ते एंड वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग गुड आफ्टरनून जिथे किथे भी तुसी काशी टीवी देख रहे हो ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਹੈਲਥ ਟਾਕ ਸ਼ੋ ਵਿੱਚ। ਹੈਲਥ ਟਾਕ ਸ਼ੋ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਕਲ ਹੈਲਥ, ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ, ਇਨਵਾਇਰਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਤੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ स्पिरिचुअल हेल्थ के बारे। सो अज जोड़ा साडा शो है बेस्ड ऑन करियर एडवाइस कह लो वो तुहानू दांगे स्पैशली ऑन मिडवाइफ्स जेडे साडे फ्यू शोज़ जोड़े रहे ने ऑन मिडवाइफरी ते रहे ने साडे काफ़ी व्यूअर्स जोड़े सी जानना चाहते सी कि मिडवाइफ ते जेड़ी की क्वालिफिकेशन चाहिए किस तरीके दे नाल मिडवाइफ बन सकते ने ते की प्रोस्पैक्ट्स ने मिडवाइफ दे एंड की उन्होंने देखना पैंदा है एंड एजुकेशन किन्नी होनी चाहिए है जेकर तुसी मिडवाइफ बनना चाहते हो। केड़ी लाइन्स तुसी चूज़ कर सकते हो आफ्टर मिडवाइफरी तो बाद केड़े ऑप्शंस तुहाडे लई हैगे हैं। सो इस सब की जानकारी देने वास्ते साडे सैनवल एंड सिटी हॉस्पिटल तो साडे मिडवाइफ्स आए ने जो तुहानू जानकारी देंगे उन्हां दी करियर दी जर्नी किस तरीके दे नाल रही एज ए मिडवाइफ होर उन्हां नू की देखना पिया जदों मिडवाइफ बने सी पहले प्रोस्पैक्ट्स उन्हां दे की सीगे। सो अज इस बारे असीं जानकारी दांगे कि जेकर तुसीं मिडवाइफ बनना चाहते हो तो उहदे लई की करना चाहिए, किहड़ी एजुकेशन तुहाडे कोल होनी चाहिए है। सो आई गॉट टू लवली लेडीज़ हियर जो मिडवाइफ ने एंड प्रोफैशनली तुहानू एडवाइस देंगे कि तुसी किस तरीके दे नाल अपनी करियर चूज़ कर सकते हो जेकर तुसी मिडवाइफ बनना चाहते हो। तो स्वागत करते हैं काशी टीवी ते साडे दो मिडवाइफ जिहड़े आए हैं उन्हां दा। सो थैंक यू सो मच लेडीज़ कमिंग एंड प्रोवाइडिंग अ वैल्यूएबल इंफॉर्मेशन फॉर आवर यंगर एंड द लेडीज़ हु वांट टू बिकम एज मिडवाइफ। So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having us.
Afra, you've been here before, I can see.
And I have missed you all. So I'll come back again.
Our viewers really missed you. And you know, when midwives come down here, it's always give our viewers opportunity to see what this like career is. You know, they see you're a role model for them actually. When they see, you know, this professional where you're providing a lot of information, helping lots of ladies, families getting together. Because midwife is not just for women, it's for children and for the, you know, people around, even
families.
Yeah, it's family for husbands, wives, children's, grandparents. It's all together, isn't it? It's a very big role.
Yes, it
very
is.
big role. So we're going to talk about your role today.
Yes.
And firstly, I'd like to introduce yourself, what you do and where you're from. So if you are, you know, first time our viewer watching you, they know again who you are. So start with you, Afra, if you can introduce yourself, please.
So my name is Afra and I am a midwife and my current role is a equality and inclusion lead midwife. So what we mean by equality inclusion is having a look to see what gaps are in our services where people might have difficulty accessing and what we can do to make sure that they are included and they feel valued and part of our services so their needs are being met. Background, community midwife, will always be a community midwife by heart and I have qualified in 1995. Before that I was a registered nurse as well and I embarked on the NHS in 1988.
Oh wow.
Don't tell me you weren't born then.
Oh, I was not. No.
So as an 18-year-old and so that was my journey, is embarking as an 18-year-old.
Lovely. We're going to talk about that when your journey was 18 and nowadays journey in 18 is it the same or not? We're going to talk about a bit about that.
Yeah.
So what's yourself? What do you do?
So my name's Amber. I am one of the midwifery clinical educators at Sandwell and West Birmingham hospitals. My job is as an educator. I help to keep up to date our registered midwives, our maternity support workers, our student midwives, doctors, anyone who may work within our maternity services. As with any profession, it's ever changing, so we have to keep up to date. So that's one of the areas of my role. We also support our newly qualified midwives through their preceptorship period, and recently we've taken on some of our internationally educated midwives as well. So we're currently supporting those to to come over and practice midwifery.
Wow, that's very interesting role.
Very
interesting.
varied as well,
Yes.
isn't it?
You know,
Yeah.
that's the first time I heard that, you know, midwife, there is an educational midwife, to be honest. I
Yeah.
never know, because the midwife you see as a community midwife,
Yeah.
as, you know, at labour ward, you see antenatal clinic, but as an educator midwife, that's the
Yeah.
first time. So I'm really excited what you really do and how you're helping others to educate themselves for further education, and actually teach like our viewers if they want to be as a midwife, choose their career, which is really interesting. And you know how many options we have in midwife. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was time when I used to think there is nursing and that's it. And then now there is, like, you know, it's a
allied health
big
professionals,
tree,
yeah.
and it's got so many branches, which is
Yeah.
like, you know, you can qualify, specialize, so many options for youngster, and not even youngster, I will say. Nowadays, the education, I'm sure if you agree with me, but education is for any
It's
age.
for everyone, for anyone.
It's any age.
We encourage anyone from any background, any age. It's never too late for you if that's something you've got a passion in, because midwifery is a passion. You've got to have that spark. You've got to have that drive to help the women that we care for and their families. So at any age, we encourage it. There's support to get people back into education. So we appreciate that for some people, they might not have been in education for years, and it can be quite a difficult step. It can be quite a scary step as well. But if it's something they were interested in, they can approach their local colleges. There's something called Access to Higher Education. So that's like a foundation course where they build up the blocks to be able to then access university and get onto the midwifery
Many options.
training.
You can be easily become a midwife if you have the passion.
Yes.
So after, I'm going to ask you, you know, you was 18 when you started your lovely career as a midwife. What make you so passionate about, like, I want to be midwife? You know, 18 is very, you know, nowadays.
During my time, you had to
Yeah.
be a nurse before you could do midwifery. It's changed now. You can go direct into midwifery. I always wanted to be a midwife, but there was a but. when I saw my mum when she had my youngest sister, the midwife was coming, and I was thinking, oh God, that, you know, I was only young, 8 years old, but I always thinking, you know, I'd go around with a hat. I'm going to be a nurse, and that. I didn't do very well at school. Okay, so as a first generation, you know, you go to school. I guess you don't have the support at home because your parents don't speak English. Yeah. It's a new country to them, and you know. So my schooling. So just putting it out there, I came out with 1 GCSE. Okay. However, don't let that stop you, and that's what you're saying about access. Don't let your education stop you. Don't let the fact that, you know, that you may have come from abroad stop you. There is pathways for everybody to enter.
And there is so much support to access in the colleges. If you might not be as academic and you do struggle with that side of it, there is so much support in colleges to help you. There's online classes. There's a wide variety of ways to access education now, because we all know it can be difficult for people to get into a college or to be able to travel there. They might have children that they've got to look after and things. So there's online classes, they can do the face-to-face ones, whichever suits them. There is a lot of variety of ways to access education now.
Oh, that's so nice. You know, you was 18 and you're a very young midwife here.
Yes.
And it's like a generation gap, but the thinking of both of you is same.
Yes.
That's, you know, that's put you together, isn't it, as a midwife, thinking and the passion about being a midwife.
Yeah.
You might be in different areas working, but the way I see, you're happy what you're doing, you're so passionate, you can talk about what you're doing for hours, isn't it? So after, you know, you was 18 and you saw you know, as an imagination play you used to do. And we're going to ask Amber, how did you come to midwifery, and what was passionate about that really attracted you on this career?
So when I was younger, I wanted to be an actress. I have a bit of a dramatic
Your acting
flair.
skills going to come out.
So it's quite a different career path.
Yeah.
But I quickly sort of realised that it wasn't going to be for me, and I did some work experience in maternity when I was 17, and I absolutely loved it, and I just thought what an amazing impact that we can have on someone's life and their family. And you see the impact that midwives have. I might see 10 women in a day, but you have one midwife that you see and is with you in that journey, and we make a real impact on people's lives, on their pregnancy and their birth. When you think back to the birth of your child, you do include the midwife in your experience, and I really wanted to have a positive impact on ladies in their pregnancy, not only just in the birth experience, because midwifery is a whole lot more than just delivering babies, as Afra probably has gone into in the past. But we can have such an impact, we can have such an influence on women's lives. We are in such a privileged position that we've got access to so many different support services. We might not have all the answers, but there is so much support out there that we can refer on to. We are that link between some of the services at sometimes, and we can, just by referring to one external person, we'd have such an impact on that lady's life, and they remember that forever. So it's such a privileged job that it's
and plus
lovely.
I think, you know, midwife, and they it's like for them, for ladies I've seen, it's like one-to-one contact. They have that person, you know, it's become like a family member. You know, I'm going to ask my midwife before I do anything. So it's like, you know, that's
it's a relationship, isn't it? You build up that relationship, so you're going through the journey with them. You know, from the beginning, it's a life event for them, and you're going through that journey with them. So you do build up. It's not one of those things, you know, when you go to A&E, you probably spend a couple of hours there and you're gone. That's it. With this, it's a journey. You're taking that journey with them.
Beautiful journey all the way. And plus, when the journation come, the next ones, they see the midwife. Oh, this was my midwife. You know, I'm going to tell our viewers a little bit about you too before we depthly go in our questions and answers. So we got to आज साढ़े नाल दो midwives जड़ी आए ने सैनवलैंड सिटी हॉस्पिटल तो, जो कि आफ्रा ते एम्बर ने, एंड एम्बर जड़ी एजुकेशनल midwife ने प्रोवाइड कर दिया एजुकेशन जड़ी midwives ਕੋਲ already है, या ਜਿਹੜੇ careers choose ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ as a midwife। and AFRA ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਵੀ ਮਿਲ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹੋ, ਉਹ community midwife ਪਹਿਲੇ ਰਹਿ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ, ਹੁਣ provide ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਾਫੀ information ਜੋ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ community ਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ awareness in midwifery ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ midwives ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ related issues ਨੇ midwife ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਡੀਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਰਟ ਹੈਗਾ community ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਪਲੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ। and एजुकेशन ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੇਣੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੇ ਐਂਬਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ। ਸੋ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਰਨੀ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ। ਆਫਰਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ 18 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਰਨੀ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ। ਪਰ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ ਵਿਦ ਨਰਸਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਨਰਸਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਮੇਨ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ। ਨਰਸਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਔਨਵਰਡ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਸੀ, ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਹੋਰ ਹੈਲਥ ਆਪਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ। ਬਟ ਫਸਟਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਨਰਸਿੰਗ ਕਰਨੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਗ੍ਰੇਡ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀ ਇੰਨੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੇ। ਸੋ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ GCSE ਹੈਗੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਬਟ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਨੈਵਰ ਲੈਟ ਡਾਊਨ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਘੱਟ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਬਣਨਾ, ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਣਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗਾ। ਤੇ ਐਂਬਰ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਐਕਟਰ, ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਛੇਤੀ ਡਿਸਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਐਕਟਰ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੈਂ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਬਣਨਾ ਹੈ, ਮੇਰਾ ਪਾਥ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਮਾਹਿਰ ਨੇ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਦੂਸਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ। ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਵੇਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਓਪਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਹੋਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਤੇ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਔਨ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫਰੀ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ। ਸੋ ਜਾਣਾਂਗੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਹੋਰ ਕੁਝ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਿ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਕੀ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਸਾਡੀ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ। So we can ask you some more questions. Why we are here today? Do you think there is a lack of midwifery that we need to introduce in our NHS? What are the reasons there is more education is needed in midwifery, you think?
Well, we know there's a national shortage, and we know we are struggling, and we want to promote midwifery as a viable career for people who might consider it,
Yeah.
who may not have even thought about it. So we're here to see if we can inspire you.
Definitely.
And so, yeah, that is why it's kind of, you know, giving people, it's a viable option as a career. We want to be promoting it as well. Do you want to add anything else?
So I think we've all spoken about the importance of having that midwife and that one-to-one contact with a midwife, and for us to be able to give that care that we want to give to our ladies, we need more midwives. So we're just really trying to encourage anyone who, like as Afra said, might have had an experience within maternity and they've thought, oh, I would love to do this, or they've never really thought about midwifery as a career before and just want a little bit more information. That's what we're here for today, to just have a chat.
And also, just to add on to that, I am what I call a return to practice midwife. It's really important. If there are any midwives out there who gave up their career thinking, I'm going to have, you know, raise my children, or for whatever reason, it's to see if any of those would ever consider coming back into midwifery as well.
Very true. There is sometimes they think, oh, it's too late to go, or I'm too old to go.
Yeah.
It's never too old, isn't it?
No, definitely
never too
not.
young and too old for midwiferys, isn't it?
Definitely.
So मैं ना कलो पूछ रही सी कि आफरा ते एम्बर कलो कि जेड़ा है कि क्यों इस टाइम ते लोड है कि midwives ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਹੋਣ. So NHS ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ shortage ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ midwives ਦੀ, ਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ midwives ਬਣਨ. Especially ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਡਾ experience ਹੁੰਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ midwives ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, and ਸਾਡਾ ਦਿਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ midwife ਬਣੀਏ, ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਪਾਥ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਰਸਤੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਜੇਕਰ ਅਸੀਂ midwife ਬਣਨਾ ਹੈ. ਐਂਡ ਸਾਡੇ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸ਼ੋਜ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ midwife ਆਏ ਸੀਗੇ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁਨੀਤਾ ਵੀ ਸੀ, ਆਫਰਾ ਵੀ ਸੀ, ਐਂਡ ਸੋ ਮੈਨੀ ਅਦਰ midwives ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਏ, ਡਾਇਬੀਟੀਜ਼ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਿਸਟ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਕਰੀਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ. ਦੇਰ ਇਜ਼ ਮੈਨੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਕਰੀਅਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ midwife ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਿਸਟ ਏਰੀਆ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਿਊਅਰਸ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ midwife ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਾਥ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ midwife ਬਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. ਸੋ ਆਫਰਾ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਐਂਡ ਐਂਬਰ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ midwife ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਏਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ. ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ midwife ਸੀ ਐਂਡ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏ, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਵਾਪਸ ਤੇ NH ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ midwifery ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਟੈਬਲਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਨਾ ਸੋਚੋ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਟਾਈਮ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਮੈਂ ਘਰ ਹੈਗੀ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਜਾਣਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ midwife ਦੇ ਰੋਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣਾ ਪਲੇਦਾਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੇ ਜਾਣਾਂਗੇ.
Also, one more thing. There are male midwives as well. So we don't want you thinking that you have to be a female. We're here to inspire everybody. So there are male midwives as well. But do you have anything to add to the fact the male midwives and how they, you know, that they are very much a valued part of our team as well?
Yeah, I think we don't see many, which is a shame, because in nursing you see a variety of women and men in that role, and so a male midwife can be just as passionate and caring and sensitive to ladies as a female midwife can. So again, if you think you've got these qualities and it's something that you are interested in pursuing and developing, then why not? It doesn't matter about your age, your sex, your gender.
I think it's all depends. You know, when nursing came out, there was all female. But now we see so many males. I mean, it's so good to see. And with the midwiferys, I think it will be one of the days we are hoping.
It's normal to see a male midwife now. Nobody blinks an eyelid. Sorry, a male nurse. Nobody blinks an eyelid, do they now?
But in that time, I mean, when you start, you've probably seen that, isn't it?
Yes.
It's definitely a female-heavy sort of career. But we know that comes with its challenges as well, because as a female, you might have your family to consider and that sort of thing. So, you know,
we just don't want to exclude anybody. We want you to understand that male midwives are welcome. Males that wish to do their training and become midwives are welcome. And it's probably not something that you thought of. You probably just didn't think, oh, it's an option for me. But we're telling you, it's an option for you.
All is needed a passion, isn't it, as we talk about. So after the Amber ने दस्या कि जेकर कोई मेल जिदा कोई बंदे जेड़े अगर मिडवाइफ बनना चाहते हैं, they are most welcome as well. जिदा मैं आपरा नाल गल कर रही सी जदों नर्सिंग क्रिया स्टार्ट हुई सी long time back, उदों सिर्फ जेड़े सी कि फीमेल्स ज़्यादा जेड़े है कि सी नर्स होंदियां सी, पर हुन जेड़ा टाइम आ गया हुन अगर असी देखिए काफ़ी मेल जेड़े है कि नर्स है कि एंड इक्वालिटी जेड़ी है हुन डिफरेंट हो गई है. मेल्स असी नॉर्मल मानते हैं नर्सिंग दे विच, बट पहले टाइम दे विच ज़्यादा फीमेल्स होंदियां सी. हाँ ज़्यादा जेड़े है हजे भी नर्सिस जड़ियाँ फीमेल है, बट हुन मेल्स काफ़ी जेड़े है नर्स है. इसी तरीके दे नाल ही एम्बर ने दस्या कि जेकर तुसी इंटरस्टिड हो, पैशनेटेड हो टू बिकम अ मिडवाइफ, तो तुहाडे लिए ऑप्शनस सेम ने जेड़े लेडीज़ नूं दिते जांदे है. सो अगर तुसी पहले कदी नहीं सोचा मिडवाइफ बनन दा, ते तुसी सोच सकते हो अगर पैशनेटेड हो तो यह करियर तुहाडे लिए है. बच्चों नाल प्यार है, वुमेन्स दे नाल लुक आफ्टर करना चाहते हो तो यह करियर तुहाडे लिए हो सकती है. सो नाउ वी कैन गो इनटू एजुकेशन. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एजुकेशन डू वी नीड टू स्टार्ट विथ टू बी अ मिडवाइफ?
So midwifery is a degree, so it is provided by universities. So to get onto that pathway, you do need to have certain qualifications. So you've got your school leavers, people with A levels or an equivalent from a college sort of equivalent. You've got, as I said earlier, people who've gone on to do an access to higher education. They might have been out of education for a long time. They might never have obtained their GCSE qualifications, and this access to higher education is sort of like a foundation block for them to be able to step into the degree course. We have recently also, with some of our local university providers, there is a midwifery degree apprenticeship now. So for those, again, who may not have those academic qualifications that you would need for a traditional degree, you've got your apprenticeship side of things that you can get onto. And if you are already working within an NHS trust, you can approach because every trust has like a lead apprenticeship person, so you can approach them and find out from your trust how you could apply for the midwifery apprenticeship degree. We do have nurses who want to join our midwifery profession, and they have, as Afra did, so you can step on to midwifery again at university, but it's a 20-month course, that you would do that converts your nursing qualification into a midwifery qualification, and you can practice as a midwife. We do also have jobs for maternity support workers as well. Maternity support workers are a really important part of our workforce, and we are encouraging the development of our maternity support workers at the moment. They can go on to again apply for a university course, and they can work at level 5. They can get level 5 qualifications and sort of work as a higher level maternity support worker. So there are lots and lots of different avenues that you can go into midwifery for now. It's not that you have to do your A levels, be a school leaver and go into it into university. There's lots of different ways that we can get people into midwifery, and if you're not sure what qualifications you have got or you're not sure where you need to go, then what I would say is speak to your local careers advisor. All of the colleges and there's lots of facilities to access a careers advisor to sort of find out what qualifications that you would need or what you've already got, and if you'd need to do a little bit more education to get into it.
Oh, wow, there is so much availability. Even if you go really, as Afra said, if you haven't got any education, there is a availability that you can actually go and be a midwife.
Yeah.
So we don't want people thinking that they don't have an option. They have options. Yeah. As Amber said, you have the passion. We want you.
ओके सो मैं आफरा ते अंबर दे नाल गल कर रही सी भी क्वालिफिकेशन की होनी चाहिए जो तुसी मिडवाइफ बनना चाहते हो पर इन्होंने दस्सिया कि काफ़ी जी क्वालिफिकेशन है कि अलग अलग तरीके की तुहाडे कोल हो सकती है तो तुसी एक्सैस कर सकते हो मिडवाइफरी दे विच एज लॉन्ग एज तुहाडा पैशन हैगा सो स्टार्टिंग एक्सैस टू एजुकेशन जिहड़ा कोर्स है वो तुसी कर सकते हो जेकर तुहाडे कोल पहले कोई एजुकेशन नहीं हैगी है तो वो तुसी कोर्स करके ते मिडवाइफरी दे विच शामिल हो सकते हो। इस तो अलावा GCSE होगी A levels हो गए एंड डिग्री तो चाहिए होंगी है एज ए मिडवाइफरी दे विच ते उस तो बाद ही तुसी मिडवाइफ बनते हो बट देयर इज़ डिफरेंट मैटरनिटी सपोर्ट वर्कर जिहड़े हैगे अगर तुसी मैटरनिटी बोर्ड दे विच काम करते हो तो उहदा भी एक्सैस हो सकता तुसी फर्दर एजुकेशन हासिल कर सकते हो जो कि लेवल 5 ते होंदी है एंड लोकल कम्यूनिटी जिहड़े एडवाइस सेंटर होंदे करियर एडवाइजर होंदे है उन्हां कोलों तुसी जानकारी लै सकते हो जेकर तुहानूं नहीं पता कि मिडवाइफ पाथ किहड़ा है किस तरीके दे नाल असीं मिडवाइफ बन सकते हैं तो वो तुहानूं दस देणगे कि किहड़ी क्वालिफिकेशन तुहाडे कोल हैगी है ते किहड़ा पाथ तुहाडे लई ठीक रहेगा जिहदे नाल तुसी अपनी मिडवाइफरी दी एजुकेशन हासिल कर सकते हो ते तुसी मिडवाइफ बन सकते हो। There was always a question, you know, when we go for any career, how much do we get paid? Is it worthy? I'm going to go going in the university, spending that many years, and leaving my children and family. Is it worthy for me going there? And what's after I become a midwife? Is there's many options? So we have to pay our mortgage, we have to pay our bills, and how much NHS or you get paid as working as a student. So if you can tell us more about that, please.
So first of all, let's start off with what you get paid for as a midwife. So when you enter the NHS, it's something called Agenda for Change. So it's got on there what all your salaries are because we work in bandings. So as a newly qualified midwife, you start as a band 5 and there's different sort of levels to a band 5. So the starting salary for a band 5 midwife is 27,000 a year. And then you get enhancements for working weekends and nights and bank holidays, and it can go all the way up. So the top of a band 5 goes up to about 33, just under about 33,000 a year. With midwifery, you are required to move up into the band 6 level. So you start as a band 5 but you work your way into a band 6 after a preceptorship period. So for some trusts that's 12 months, for some trusts that's 2 years. But at the end of your preceptorship period you move into the band 6 bracket, which is about 33,500, and again the longer you work as a band 6 the higher up you get in the band 6, so you can work your way up. And then you've got your specialist midwives, such as myself. I'm classed as a specialist midwife, and we're classed as band 7s sometimes it will be a band 6. So there are lots of different avenues for you to go into with midwifery. As you've said, there's lots of different specialist roles that you can do. You can work in community midwifery, you can work on delivery suite, the postnatal wards, the antenatal wards. You can rotate and do a variety of everything. So there are lots of avenues for you to go into as a midwife.
Wow. So it's not like, people used to think, you get really less wage, the shift is really hard, that's why we see. And that's generally people say, oh, midwife, they must be working really hard. They have to really work.
You're guaranteed a job at the end of your training as well, which is, it's not one of those, oh, we've got to. We know that you'll be guaranteed a job.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a very good one, because sometimes some of the viewers might not know if after the training they will get the job or not, and lots of training and degrees they do, but there is no job after that. They have to search for the job.
Yeah, so as long as there's a vacancy, there is a job at the end of it, and most trusts work on the premise that there is vacancies at the end.
So far there's loads of jobs, and you could always do bank as well. Which means you don't need to go directly with the employer. That's after your preceptorship. Is that right?
So, we offer. So to become a band 6, you have to do your preceptorship period. So that's either at Sandwell and West Birmingham, we offer a 2-year preceptorship period, and after you have sort of like progression points. So you start off at the bottom of a band 5 and you progress up to sort of the top of a band 5 as long as you're progressing in your preceptorship, and then at the end of it you get your band 6, and after that you can do bank shifts optionally, which is extra additional shifts.
So after 2 years minimum of experience, then you can do a bank as well. So that's great.
You can do bank. You can do bank at any point, but you need to be confident and competent in what you're doing before you take on the bank shifts. But there is that option to do additional bank shifts as well.
Wow. So I'll tell this good news, how much money you like get loaded. So after the अंबर ने मैं पूछ रही सी भी साढ़े जड़े viewers ने ऐवी जानना चाहनगे भी पैसे किन्ने मिलते हैं क्या, क्योंकि mortgage वगैरह भी पे होनी जरूरी है क्या. So इन्होंने दस्या जो midwives दी starting जड़ी है band 5 तो होती है जो finish करते हैं अपनी career, ते band 5 दी जड़ी है कि 20,000 जड़ा है उन्होंने मिलता है yearly, and उस तो इलावा जो increase होंदे होंदे 35 तक आ जाती है कि band 5 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ band 6 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਂਦੇ ਤੇ 33,000 ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ wages ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ 12 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਐਵਰੀ ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ wages ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਵੱਧਦੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਆਪਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ 2 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹ ਬੈਂਕ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. ਬੈਂਕਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਵਰਸ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੈਟਰਡੇ ਸੰਡੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਰੇਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ NHS ਵੱਲੋਂ. ਮੇਨ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈਡ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ परमानेंट ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜੌਬ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਮੋਰ ਲਾਈਕਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਉਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਵਰਕ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਹਸਪੀਟਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਲਿੰਕ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਮੋਰ ਲਾਈਕਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜੌਬ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. ਸੋ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜੌਬ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਪੱਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਐਂਡ ਗਾਰੰਟੀ ਜੌਬ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੈਰਾਈਟੀ ਆਫ ਰੋਲਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਏਰੀਆਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਾਈਜ਼ਡ ਏਰੀਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਆਫਰਾ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਾਈਜ਼ਡ ਏਰੀਆ ਕੀਤਾ, ਐਂਬਰ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ. ਸੋ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ अपने ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੋਲਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਐਂਬਰ ਹੁਣ ਬੈਂਡ 7 ਤੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਰੋਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਾਫੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੈਗਾ. ਸੋ ਉਸ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪੇ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਾਈਜ਼ ਏਰੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਵੇਜਸ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਵੱਧਦੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਨਾਓ ਆਮ ਗੋਇੰ ਟੂ ਆਸਕ ਯੂ ਨੋ ਵੈਨ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਗੋਇੰਗ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ what's the life like there, how it's like as a being a student, and having shift work, and how does uni help, or how is NHS really help those midwife who's never been in study, they come from different areas, different background, and now they want to they're all passionate about becoming a midwife. So how does they feel about it when they come? Is it a different like oh God, where I am? But it's the passion I'm talking about. How do they manage, like how does NHS help, or how does the university help them to be what they are doing more professional in that type, in monetary wise, in a money wise, how they support, or how does, if they have childcare at home as well, how they get help.
So with your university degree, it is a split between theory and placement. So they will have so many hours within the university, and then they'll have so many hours at placement. When they're working in the placement area, they'll be allocated a trust to work at, and they will work a variety of shifts, so long days, which are roughly about 12-hour shifts, or there's 7.5-hour shifts as well. So there's a variety of shift patterns that they are expected to do, and when you apply for university you can apply for something that's called an NHS Learning Support Fund. When you go through UCAS and things, they have got information on how you can apply for the NHS grants. So it is a grant I think there's means tested grants.
It's eligible people.
that they can apply for a grant depending on your financial circumstances and things. They can apply for student loans, which again, student finance will get in contact with them and they can apply for your student finance. There's lots of support within the university. Every individual university has sort of funds and like grants that they can give to people that they have to apply for, but if they're struggling financially they can seek support, and there's lots of different advice support services that they can refer on to and that sort of thing. In terms of the childcare, it's kind of, it is difficult.
It is difficult, and there is a support grant, and again that is means tested for those who may require it, and I think it might be about £2,000 a year that they could apply for just to help with childcare. We understand it can be difficult when you've got children, and I certainly, when I did my midwifery, I did do it when I had my children. My youngest was 6 months actually when I started my midwifery course. But you do, I think the resilience you do it, you manage it.
Yeah, a lot of our midwives that are training are have children and they do manage, and again it's because they've got that drive to do it. They want to become a midwife, they want to do this job, so they find a way, and it's not something, there is support for them there, but because they've got that passion and the drive to do it, they find a way to get through.
So all your midwives who's getting trained, they see in a good midwives actually, isn't it?
Role models, eh?
Yes. Yeah, because childcare is quite expensive. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
If, you know, in our time there was like your mother or mother-in-law or family members used to look after, but it's not much support available. But if they're getting being tested, it's still better.
Do have on-site creche. I'm not sure whether we still have one.
I'm not sure if City.
Yeah, but some hospitals have on-site creche as well.
Or they have like a nursery that's really local to them that they recommend, and sometimes,
sometimes you find your own that other parents have recommended in your local areas, because you might find something that you can, maybe families can pick them up from the creche, or friends, you know, partner. But as Amber said, you do find a way.
Yeah.
I remember there was one of the midwife who told me, well, she was having training with her friend. They used to change the shifts. Which is so good. Yeah. And you know, it's all about passion, isn't it?
I've heard that as well.
You're all in it together as well, aren't you? You're all going through the training together, and if you make friends with people who are in similar situations to you, that can be really helpful, because they understand what you're going through and you help each other, don't you? I guess.
So we're going to give more information to our viewers now. So मैं आफरा ते एम्बर को पूछ रही सी भी जदों किन्नी help जड़ियाँ universities provide कर दिया ने या NHS provide करता जदों तुसी midwife बनना चाहते हो, ते इन्हां ने दस्सिया कि जड़ा 50-50% जड़ा है practice and practical हुंदा हैगा, so 50% जड़ा हैगा तुसी workplace ते काम करते हो ते 50% जड़ा हैगा university दे विच हुंदा है, so combine करके किता जांदा है। इस तो इलावा जड़ी हैगी है NHS जड़ी grant हैगी है mean tested जड़े हैगे वो किते जांदे हैं जेकर तुसी qualified होंदे हो ते तानू NHS grant भी मिलदी है, and इस तो इलावा student loan जड़ा हैगा वो भी provide किता जांदा है depending on ताडे circumstance ते ओदे आधार ते। and child care जड़ी हैगी है कहंदे भी जदों passion होए ते कुछ ना कुछ असी अपने लिए लभ लेंदे हैं। normally कई बारी family help कर देंदी है, नहीं ते कई बारी university वालों कुछ ना कुछ provide किता जांदा है। आफरा ने दस्सिया about £2,000 कई बारी provide किता mean tested जेकर तानू जरूरत होए ते ओदी हेल्प कीती जांदी है। इस तो इलावा कई बारी जेडे तुहाडे नाल काम करदे हुंदे कोलीग एक दूसरे दी मदद कर दिंदे हैगे, जदों देखदे हैं भी एदी शिफ्ट इन्ने टाइम ते है, मेरी इन्ने बजे हैगी है, ते एक दूसरे नाल मिल के वर्कआउट कर लेंदे हैगे। ऑल अबाउट पैशन हैगा कि जेकर तुहाडा पैशन हैगा इहदे विच इस करियर दे विच आउण दा ते कोई ना कोई रस्ता मिल जांदा हैगा एज लॉन्ग एज तुसी मिडवाइफ बनना चाहते हो, मेन ए हैगा। ते इस तो इलावा हुण होर क्वेश्चन जड़े हैगे आफरा नूं पुछांगे कि जदों साडे मिडवाइफ्स क्वालीफाइड हो जाते हैं ते कदों अपना करियर्स चूज़ कर सकते हैं, कदों आप काम कर सकते हैगे। सो टेल अस मोर अबाउट वंस यू क्वालीफाइड as a midwife, so what's the first thing? Do you have to, you can choose where you want to work, or it's always set that you will be allocated in a certain specialise?
So with your preceptorship, you rotate to all of the areas. So at Sandwell and West Birmingham, our midwifery preceptorship, for the first year, you rotate in the hospital, so you're an inpatient based for the first 12 months of your preceptorship. So you rotate to the postnatal ward, you rotate to the antenatal and high risk postnatal ward, you rotate to delivery suites, you rotate to delivery suite, which includes triage and theatres. So all of that is included within your first year of the preceptorship. And then in the second year, you rotate out to community. So in community is included in the rotation. And then again, you do go to delivery suite and Serenity. So Serenity is our midwifery-led unit, where it's midwife-led. So there isn't, if you fall into that criteria to come under the criteria of giving birth on Serenity, then the women go there rather than delivery suite. And again, the wards are included in that rotation as well.
Would you just explain, maybe for those who don't understand, is what preceptorship means?
Yeah, so in the preceptorship period, they work as a band 5 and as a preceptee to try and protect them a little bit and to get them to that band 6 level. So you as your preceptorship goes on, the responsibility starts to get more and more that you're having to build you up to that band 6 level that you're expected to become as a midwife. Because as with nursing, they work as band 5s until they've decided that they would like to specialise and become a band 6. Whereas in midwifery, the expectation is that you will progress into a band 6 after your preceptorship period. So the preceptorship is about supporting the individual, building their confidence and competence with things, and just getting them up to the level where they should be to become a band 6 midwife.
So is it like a shadowing somebody, or you will be doing work yourself?
So at first you do get a supernumerary period, so that's where you will shadow. You do take your own ladies, but not as much of a caseload really, and you're supported a little bit more in your supernumerary period. And then after your supernumerary period, you do take on your own caseload. So for example, if you're on the wards, you'll take your caseload of ladies on the wards, but we do provide that little bit more support if you need it. We don't there's not so much expectations, and
there's always that the midwife in charge has always got it in the back of head. I've got somebody junior here that might need support. So they
so relief, because once you're newly qualified, you think, oh God, I'm going to go there and I have to, but when there is a team there to help you, then you are more relaxed. If I don't know, there is always somebody else I can ask.
And there is always a big step from being a student midwife to qualifying and having your own ladies, because it then is your responsibility. So there is a bit of a step, and it is a bit of a change. But this is where our resilience comes in, and this is where the clinical educators are there to support you, and your more senior members of staff, your band 6 midwives, the midwife in charge, the managers are around to support you in that transition from becoming a student to a qualified midwife.
Beautiful journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
So मैं आफरा ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਅੰਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈਡ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਰਨੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਨਵਾਂ ਐਟਮੋਸਫੇਅਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੰਪਲੀਟ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਅੰਬਰ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਨਿਊਲੀ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈਡ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਸਾਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਦੇਖਭਾਲ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਰਾਈਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈ। ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਨਵੇਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਘਬਰਾਏ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਟੀਮ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਮੈਨੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੋਰ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈਡ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫਸ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਵੀਂ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈਡ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੈਲਪ ਮਦਦ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਪਏ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਇਹ ਨਵੀਂ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਆਈ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਹਜੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਸੈਕਿੰਡ ਈਅਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਿਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਡਿਲੀਵਰੀ ਸੂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ है ते एक स्पैशल जिहड़ा हुंदा है कि जिथे लेबर वार्ड नहीं हुंदा लेकिन लेबर वार्ड एक तो अलग जिथे कि कल्ले तुसीं बर्थ दे सकदे हो अपने पार्टनर दे नाल उस जगह दे विच भी वो ड्यूटीज़ करदियां हैगियां सो होली स्टैप बाय स्टैप जब तक उन्हां दा 6 पैड नहीं हो जाता उन्हां दी मदद लई कोई ना कोई हुंदा हैगा सो बिफोर दे प्रॉपरली अपनी शैडोइंग कर सकदियां अगर उन्हां नूं किसी चीज़ दा कंसर्न होए ते कोई ना कोई जिहड़ी मिडवाइफ हैगी आ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਲਈ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ Can I ask you ladies could you tell our viewers your one day role what do you do actually so they will have a fair idea you know in your situation so when you go start your role in the morning what do you do really
In my current role or my role as a midwife?
I say as a midwife, give them
As
an
a
idea.
midwife.
So we give you an idea of
Okay.
the flow as a midwife, yeah.
So I used to work on the postnatal ward and I still do work clinically on the postnatal ward. So you start your day by having a handover of your patients. You get all the information about what has previously happened. It's something called an S-bar handover. So it's a situation, background, assessment and recommendations. So you have your caseload of ladies that you've taken your handover from. And then you go around and do your checks on the ladies. We'd complete a postnatal check, give any medication that might be due at the time that it's meant to be due, do our postnatal checks on our ladies and our babies. Then we might need to take some blood from one of our ladies. She might need some IV medication that we need to give her. We do holistic assessments of our ladies, so we might want to have a chat to her about how she's feeling emotionally, is she well supported at home, financially, has she got the correct equipment for babies, has she got the right support at home and things, and
breastfeeding support,
infant feeding support. So if our ladies are struggling with the feeding of the baby, whichever method they've chose, whether that's breastfeeding or formula feeding, we can give them individualised support and information with the breastfeeding. We
health educate as well,
we do
so
a
we
lot
get
of health
education, so we might be able, educate them, as Amber said, regarding feeding, but also how to care for your baby, and what things, so they leave, or we leave them at the end of the journey more confident and not being thinking, we don't know what to do. So part of that is like, as you know, I deliver the parent ed classes, parent education classes, so that in itself is something that we do. It's very varied, isn't it?
Yeah,
very
there is so much that we do.
People think it's about a baby. Our life is just consistent of helping birth, but it's not. It's
such
so
a variety.
That's why I said it's like a family member coming in. A new family member is entering as a midwife. And I think lots of teenager, I remember when I was in a hospital having my children, and teenager pregnancy, and midwives used to give lots of information, and aged women who's having babies as well. It's different, and then there is how to change the nappy for first time mothers. Even they, and there was ladies who had a career after, they've been in career so much, they didn't know how to look after. And the mental health, it's so much things going on in that,
we have to give individualised care. So we get to know our ladies that we're looking after. We involve them in their care. What do you need from us? How can we help you? What information can we give to you? How can we support you? That sort of thing. So one lady who might need us to go through every single thing with her, whereas another lady might not need all of that. So it is about having that individualised care and getting ladies involved in their choices for care and what they need as well, and listening to them and getting them involved.
Wow, lots of things, isn't it? Lots of things you'll do. So I'm going to mention these to my viewers, but you really do the whole day, it's not only just the babies.
No.
So मैं एम्बर को पूछ रही सी कि उन्हां दा एक ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ੈਡਿਊਲ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਮੋਰਨਿੰਗ ਟਾਈਮ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਾਊਂਡਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਹੈਂਡਓਵਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਲੇਡੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹਾਲ ਚਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਨੇ, ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨਲ ਟੋਕ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੇਬੀ ਚੈੱਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਮਦਰਸ ਦਾ ਚੈੱਕਅਪ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਬਲੱਡ ਟੈਸਟ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਐਂਡ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾਤਰ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਐਂਡ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੂਰੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡਾ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਟਸ ਰਨਿੰਗ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਅੱਜ ਨਾ there is only 47 seconds left.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not going to get time to talk what you've been through as a midwife, what's your role is in a diet.
Oh, don't worry about me. I think I've done that already with them before, so you carry on.
Any quick message before we leave? Actually, we got really less time.
I just wanted to quickly say that with the information that we're given, it's all correct, obviously, for this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, with wages and things, it does change. University qualifications, all of that is ever changing, so it's just correct
at the time we're giving it.
Yeah, basically, just in case there's people watching this in the future.
Thank you so much, ladies. So after the Amber ने दसिया कि लास्ट जड़ी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इन्फॉर्मेशन हैगी है कि जड़ी आज इन्फॉर्मेशन एजुकेशन बारे दसी गई है, आज दी डेट तक राइट हैगी है, नेक्स्ट ईयर कैन बी चेंज, सो मेक श्योर तुसी इहनू चेक करते रहना। सो इहदे नाल ही मैं लांगी इजाजत ते साडे सारिਆਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਐਂਡ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ, ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਦਾ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਸੋ ਮਚ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੀ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਵੀਕ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਗੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਤਦ ਤੱਕ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੋ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ।